But it's not really about that, because techniques to me are like tools in your tool bag, you know. If you're a good carpenter, you can have all the best tools in your tool bag, but if you don't know how to use them, then it doesn't mean you're a good carpenter. You know, being a carpenter is an art form or whatever, right? And it's the same with being a good Raynor massage therapist. It's like, yes, you got to know your techniques, but that's stage one. That's just like, oh, how do I use my power saw if you're a carpenter? What we want to do is like, it's like building a house, right? So we want to be able to put those techniques together in a way that's the most effective for each individual. Because we're not in the mass production business, you know. So what we need to do is figure out, okay, so for each individual, where is their problems and how am I going to get rid of them in the quickest amount of time possible? All right, so of course, and then you've got other factors like, will the person work with me? How can I encourage them to breathe? You know, that sort of thing. But each individual is different, and we need to tailor make our massage to suit the individual. And that's really what this course is going to be about. It's going to be about the strategies that you would use for different people. Okay, so I use very different strategies. Sometimes I'll use from pressure, I can use from light to deep. A lot of people think our massage is always deep. It's not necessarily the case. Okay, sometimes it's very, very deep, and sometimes it can be extremely light. All right, so it depends on what the person needs. So some people, don't get that caught in your head that always Raynor massage is deep. Okay? Yes, it often is. It often is very deep. Okay? And but it's not always that way. Okay? So we need to, because some people it won't suit. You could be going too deep on them, thinking, oh yeah, Raynor massage is always deep, but it's not always that way. You know, whereas that person may respond better to a more supple massage. All right? They may be working with you better. All right, so, you know, there's some concepts that people, I think, I've seen throughout my years of teaching people, you know, people can get a little bit off on a tangent on what Raynor massage is as well. And so I want to kind of like, you know, maybe break up some of the ways that you guys are doing things. All right? You'll find probably, especially those that did Bronson's course, you know, in November or whatever, Bronson is our most recent teacher, and due to that, he's also been trained only by me, none of other teachers. So you'll find that the style that Bronson's doing now is most closely related to what I'm doing now. You know, some of you who did my style 5 years ago will see certain things that are different. You know, and that's the good thing because I've really been massaging about 18 years. So 5 years is almost a third of my career. So hopefully I have gotten better. I've also gotten older, and so, you know, also as you get older, you need to conserve your energy more. So I've used more energy conserving techniques rather than more, you know, intensity that I might have had in my early 30s. You know, so things do change, you know. But the basic essence is there that I want to emphasize, which is we're going to try and find the person's tension and get rid of it. And this is what it comes down to. It actually comes down to sometimes not getting more head knowledge, more intellectual knowledge. It comes down to getting less and keeping focused on what's important. Okay? And that is important. If you stay focused on that during a massage, then you're going to do a good massage, and you're not going to get caught in a routine. Okay? So what I don't want you guys to do is be caught in a routine, where you do your same massage for everybody that walks in the door. Or your same strategy even. You know, a bit of a different massage, but yeah, always pretty much I do their back and then I come to their feet and then I come and I do this and I do that and I do that and everybody and it works, you know. Okay, it may be a superior strategy to some that are being used out there, but actually everybody needs a different strategy, okay? So some people you may work for 5 minutes on their back, roll them over, work their belly a little bit, work their head, work their feet, come back to their belly, do a bit more, put them into each side position, come back to their back. And then, you know, another person you're going to start and you're going to work for about 20 minutes on each foot. Then loosen up their legs, then come into their belly, then into their chest, and then into their head. Another person you're going to you see them right away. I'm going to start with your head because you're too anxious, you're too nervous. You got too much going on mentally. I'm going to come and I'm going to work their head. I'm going to relax them first so that I can actually get into them. Otherwise, they're going to jump and carry on, and I can't work on them. And then I'm going to come into their body. Okay, so there's many different strategies according to the person that you're working with. And that's what I want to really show you in this course, as well as maybe polish up your techniques or whatever. But I don't want the emphasis to be on technique. Okay? I want it to be on to try and see, to keep a flexibility in your mind. That's one of the most important things, is having a flexibility in your mind on how to deal with each person. All right? And I want to give you some hints of the strategies that I've learned, because there is patterns that people have, you know, and so oftentimes you might have seen a similar condition with another person, and then you know, for me, it's taken me many years and years of experience to work out a lot of different strategies. I may have been working on somebody, and after the end of that treatment, I thought, oh, geez, you know, I should have done something different. What I did didn't work on that person, you know. And then I think about next time they come in, and you know what I should have. And then I think about, I should have loosened up his head because his mind wasn't letting me work on his body. So next time I'll try that, and I'll start with the head, and then all of a sudden, you know, things work. Or it might have taken me 5 sessions to get there. It's like, why couldn't I release his belly? Oh, his belly was held from, you know, it's like me when I figured out this technique that some of you guys may have felt when you're holding the points above the knee, you know. That was something I came up with because I had a thing and I couldn't release certain people's bellies, and I thought it's being held from in here. And then I kind of just experimented with that technique. But that took a long time to think about. Yeah. But it all came down to the reason why I invented a particular technique was based around the whole thing of, I'm trying to find their tension and get rid of it. Okay? And that's the basic thing that you should be thinking of. All right? Nothing else should be confusing you. You shouldn't be thinking, even when you're feeling things, right? Don't get caught up in what's this meridian? What's this thing called? What's this relate to? Because we're not just Chinese medicine practitioners. Okay? I know some of my teachers even emphasize that more than I do, in fact. And sometimes I may be de-emphasizing something that another teacher of mine has emphasized. Just so that you don't get caught up in your minds too much, and you get caught up in feeling what's going on. Okay? So why I say that is because every system of medicine from the East also has slightly different energy lines in the body. If you look at a chart where you see the Thai send lines, for example, you'll see they run quite differently than the Chinese meridian lines. If you look at the Ayurvedic marma points and the nadis and the internal energy channels, they're different again than the Chinese medical ones. I had a teacher that worked for me for quite a while from Japan. He was an acupuncturist, and he'd been trained at the Tokyo School of the Blind, which was the best school in Japan for shiatsu and acupuncture. At his school, they did what's called the unconventional meridians. And I'd never even heard of them before until he showed me them, you know. And then he was using different techniques on these unconventional meridians, you know. And so what I'm trying to emphasize here is that there's a lot of different theories about subtle energy and its flow in the body. The most important thing, though, is that we learn to feel what's going on, so that we're not just coming from our theory-based mental speculation thing. This should be here, so therefore I'll stimulate it. It reminds me of the conversation I had years ago with a guy who was both an acupuncturist and a shiatsu practitioner. And I said, well, which do you prefer? And he said, I prefer doing shiatsu because I feel what's going on. See, with acupuncture, he's going to measure. He's going to measure, you know, this is the width of one finger is what's called a sun in Chinese. So they'll go, okay, the acupressure point, you know, for, you know, the lung meridian right here is 2 sun from this bone. You know, and so they'll go, okay, I'm going to put a needle in right here. But with shiatsu, or with massage, you actually have to learn to feel. I can feel the chi blockage there. And that is what we're trying to emphasize here, is learn to feel the chi blockage.